Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Christina. How are you?
I'm fine, Bernadette. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for organizing that.
yes, definitely. So, Christina, can you tell us what is your story and where about are you tuning in from?
Yeah, so my story is I'm in fact very passionate about the beginning of life since a long time. So, in fact, I grew up in Belgium and I came to Canada in 29 years ago. But in Belgium, I was already very active around the beginning of life because I my studies were occupational therapy, so that's my background, and that's normally working with disabled people on mentally, emotionally, physically,
Mhm.
physical level. And in fact, in the course of my studies, I came to the discernment that in fact some things can be avoided if we are really more aware about these 9 months of beginning of life before birth and birth itself. And then of course the first year of life is also very 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 important.
Mhm.
And so I have been studying all that. I have been studying it on myself also by going back to my own prenatal period because there was a time in my life where I felt, I cannot say really depressed, but I could not really feel when the sun was shining that it would make me happy, something like that. Like there was like a blur, and I wanted to get to the root of that. And so one day I was already into meditation, and one day I knew, you have to go down the steps, and you can find, if you ask what to work on, you can arrive at a place where there is a memory that can help you unfold what is the origin of your problem. And so I arrived in the belly of my mother. In fact, in my mother said, "Here, come and sit next to me." In that visualization, and she told me about yeah, when she was pregnant with me, she had already four boys before me. So you can imagine that was they were between 6 and 1 year old.
Mhm.
And so yeah, four boys, they bring a lot of life into the world. And then she was pregnant with me, but so she had not really the time to think about of making connection with me. And that made me feel like oh, maybe I'm not really welcome here, and I felt also that she was not she was happy to have a fifth child. In fact, she wanted to have seven, like it was in her family. But in fact, uh, yeah, her body was in fact reacting in a way that, she had always headaches and back pain. So the body said no. Her heart said yes, but her body said no. And I felt um, that ambivalence, like what is it here? I'm not really welcome. So there must be something wrong with me. Like I'm probably not like I should be. I'm not worthy enough or whatever of love. And so that creates quite a lot of beliefs, and you start your life with these unconscious beliefs, and then these beliefs always want to be reinforced in life. So you attract situations that bring you the idea again, yeah, I'm not worthy, etc. So, and so when I discovered that, that really helped me a lot to unleash like a lot of heavy weight on my shoulders.
Mhm.
And so, at that time in the 80s, there was not a lot of literature yet, but it was starting, and so I was just devouring everything could find on this, and eventually I became a childbirth educator in Belgium. I was the first one. I was like a pioneer there. It didn't exist. And yeah, so by following all kinds of courses and making a synthesis of that, I started talking about that with pregnant women and yeah, giving them the tools to make that a positive experience. And so I was singing with them also as a way to energize their own bodies and giving a musical message of harmony to the baby and of love and of attention. So even the partners were there, connecting. And so at this certain moment, I came to Canada, and I developed other methods to work around this prenatal period. So that means therapy of intra-uterine life is a way to find your own roots, prenatal roots. So I guide people to find out what has been happening there, maybe in the negative sense, and how can we transform that to something positive and empowering. And
Mm.
then eventually also at a certain moment, I became pregnant myself. And my husband, during that 9 months period, my husband was a climber. He had climbed Everest before, and he wanted to do another climb at that moment. And there was something going wrong there, where there was an accident in nature, with boats on a very dangerous river, in fact, where he turned over and never came out of the water, freezing water. Like it's not a very happy story there. So and then, in fact, I didn't know yet that I was pregnant. It was only a few weeks later that I discovered that. And so, with everything that I knew already, like from 20 years before of studying all this, I was like flabbergasted, like how I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna live my life so that this baby will not have the negative effects of my stress or my worries or my, you know. So that was, of course, the let's say the proof, did I really learn what I needed to learn here? Um, so that I can and really be there for my child in a positive way, in order not to harm him with trauma, whatever, hey? So that was, of course, a big discovery. And so finally, after that, I also developed Akashic record readings. So, and my aim is to help pregnant women to connect with the soul of the baby, and so to listen to what the baby or the soul, in fact, needs. And what eventually stands in the way of that, like, maybe relationship problems or stress in whatever form. And of course, it doesn't need always to be a husband that dies, but somebody else in the family, or a big friend, or a neighbor, or somebody you feel really close connected to, that passes away, or huge stress at work, some conflicts with the partner, with your boss, with a friend, with a family, all that. If that lasts long, it has a negative effect on the baby. And so, in fact, my message is to make it as much as possible, these 9 months, a positive experience for yourself as a mother, as a pregnant mother.
Mhm.
And that's quite a learning process. So yeah, that's about my story here. I don't know if you have some.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I love how you're sharing. I feel somehow connected to your experience because yeah, when my mom was pregnant with me, there was a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse.
Mm.
My dad was an alcoholic. Um, yeah. And as an adult, I have a lot of issues mental, physical, pain, anxiety. And for some reason, I love listening to the heartbeat. I do that on YouTube. And
Beautiful.
when I listen to it, it's not stress, it's just quiet, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of stillness that I crave, and I still do it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I have goosebumps when you say that because that's what the baby also hears in the womb, hey? So, and that calms the baby down afterwards also. You know, if there is a period of eventually teeth coming through or, you know, some upset for the baby,
Mhm.
if you have the possibility to have that to have the baby listening to the heartbeat, it can
Mhm.
down immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so
I'm an adult to try.
right. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I love that you shared that. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
sorry.
something, yeah, thank you. I think it's something I've recently learned about pre-birth trauma.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear what you have gone through, Bernadette. That's
Mm.
because I heard that also in the interview with Sadie, I think about adoption.
Oh, I've
And
had her on my podcast.
yeah, I listened
Yeah.
to that. So that's absolutely. So you know, in these 9 months, there is a whole world going on already. We are in our first classroom,
Hmm.
in fact, and you know, it's not like a classroom in a school. I mean, you know, that's boring, but it's everything that happens around. What is the mother saying? What is she feeling? What is she thinking? And the baby is, in fact, taking it all in like a sponge, and it's macerating like macerating for 9 months. Can you imagine that in
Yeah.
that environment? And so it builds its own psyche up
Mhm.
according to what the mom is offering, in fact. And if she's offering anxiousness, which is normal in the sense that your mother, normally, I mean, if there was conflicts in your mother's life when she was pregnant with you, of course, there is the baby will feel that also just with the cortisol that will be released and
Yeah.
uh, you know just physically already. You know, you're built towards the encountering life on Earth, uh,
Hmm.
built on that template of stress.
Yeah.
And so you're hypersensitive for anything that goes wrong, that immediately pulls you in a knot. And so it's possible to change that, but you know it's of course a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, something that has helped me a lot is to know that you know, I've written a book also. Sorry, I can't maybe already show you that. So the book is Soul Journey to the Earth.
Wow. I
Seeds for
love the cover.
Seeds for a New Humanity. And so it's in fact the journey of the soul coming to the earth and how it adapts to the earth environment and especially, of course, through the mother.
Hmm.
And so, um, what did I want to say here? So the soul, what it encounters through the mother is completely determining for how we see life, how we see ourselves also.
Yeah.
So if the mother is not connecting with the baby really consciously,
Hmm.
uh, there will be something, a difficulty maybe in relationships because the mother is the first person normally with whom we make this contact for during these 9 months.
Hmm.
And if she doesn't do that because she's too busy, like in my case, or she's too busy with worrying about what's going on in her life,
Hmm.
there is no time for that. And then so the baby feels completely pushed away, feels rejected, feels lonely, feels even guilty maybe to be there and to be bothering
Yeah.
the mother, you
Yeah.
know, which it shouldn't be because it has been invited by both a mother and a girl. I mean, you know, otherwise he wouldn't be there. Hey, so
Yeah.
but what helped me a lot, that's what I wanted to say, is that before we come to this earth as a soul, you know, for me it's important given that we are not just a body,
Yeah.
but we have something that is alivening the body, you know, and that is the
Yeah.
soul. And so before the soul comes to this earth, there is like a whole plan that is designed. And it is maybe very hard to hear that, but we have in somewhere like, you know, in our super consciousness, like there is a director there upstairs. In our own constitution, there is like something higher that has determined what we would like to learn in this lifetime and what we would like to develop, what we would like to overcome. And so this is consciously determined. But of course, when we arrive in on this earth, in this body, from the first cell already, we have forgotten that because it's another vibration, it's another frequency, and we're already cut off from that information most of the time. So that means it all works out, it all plays out how we have determined it.
Yeah.
But if we know that we have signed up for that, like for me, it helped me a lot to know I have signed up for the fact that my husband would pass away while I was pregnant. There was a reason for that. There was a reason for me to become stronger, to become courageous, to not let myself being drowned into depression, whatever, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and to stay strong and knowing, okay, there's something higher up here in myself has decided this. So why not going with the flow
Yeah.
instead of going against it? Because that makes it harder. If you um, yeah, if you reject all this or you don't accept all this, then you're just struggling, in fact, with yourself. And so I said, okay, let's just accept that and make the best out of it, and yeah. So it's always possible for people who have not been, welcomed from the first moment into a harmonious life through the mother. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what is really important to know also is that you can connect with something higher in your mother also, because your mother has said yes to you,
Yeah.
unconsciously maybe, but also her higher self has said yes, and your father too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but even nature uh, needs this yes, or just does everything that needs to be done if there is this complete yes. And even if the mother has some struggle because she has herself gone through some difficulties when she was small, when she was younger, that's most of the time what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
She cannot really show you this big yes, but in fact, if you are able to connect to that higher point in her, in or higher point in her heart that she is even not aware of,
Yeah.
where this was this big yes,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can say, oh wow, I'm allowed to be here, I'm welcomed here. In fact, yes, I have been allowed here because I signed up for it, and I know that I can overcome all this hardship and all these traumas, even if they're really not easy. And I hear you. I know, it is a lot of work to overcome all this. But in the meanwhile, you develop so much strength and insight,
Mm-hmm.
and also what you develop is empathy with other people, and that's what you are doing now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Un-
Yeah. Yeah.
Unleashing your potential because you have been working on this already. I see that, in the light in your eyes, and
Thank
the really authentic smile you have.
you.
That means that you have already, done a switch there, and
Yeah.
and now you're giving this message to other people who may be still suffering, or
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's to evolve and to develop and overcome and transform to become this beautiful, beautiful light that you are, in fact, and to
Yeah.
discover that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. I love everything you're sharing. I'm just listening.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think at some point my soul did not want to be where I am because when during pregnancy my mom was fleeing, running away from my dad, and she went into labor and I was born right there on the street in the morning.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah, but all that also, it's just there is a divine timing for everything, and always the soul agrees to all that because it knows, in its heart. It's like the director of a school who might give some difficult lessons to the pupils, in order for them to learn, so that they can say, "Hey, wow, see where I come from. I've learned all this, even if it has been hard." Yeah, it's amazing. Your mother has been very strong, let's say. If she
Oh.
agreed also to all that unconsciously,
Hmm.
um, it's like that you only take on what you are allowed to carry. And that's what I received always in my work with people.
Hmm.
You will never be charged more than what you can carry. So
Hmm.
that means your mother was very strong, even if there was lots of trouble. And so are you. So
Yes,
are
thank you.
so
Thank you.
so it's through this conflict and difficulty that you find the light. You have to, because you're in this maybe dark night of the soul through all this anxiousness and stress, and when you cannot go deeper, you cannot go darker. That's when you have to absolutely come out with some insights and a push, um, or let's say a pull, towards the light, towards something, to the real truth
Yeah.
of who you are. And that's the way you discover that. Otherwise you would not survive, you would not evolve. And the soul wants, the only thing that the soul wants is for you to evolve and to become one, to become the expression of that beauty, of that the soul.
Yeah.
And that's why we are here, and why we sometimes invite, yeah, trouble.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. What is the Akashic record? I've heard about it. Maybe people are watching this, they don't know what it is. What is it?
Yeah, so Akashic records are, let's say, it's the energetic recording of everything that you have gone through from the moment of the creation of your soul. So over lifetimes, to the moment of now, and even the possibilities for the future. So it is possible to connect with that. So any energetic recording of everything you have felt, you have gone through, you have thought, you have done in the past, and of course that includes also the suffering eventually, or but also the qualities that you have developed, and the skills, and uh, so all the talents that you have had in the past and that you can plug into again. And so what I do mostly when people contact me for an Akashic Records reading, um, if it's, not a pregnant woman, then it's most of the time about what is my soul purpose here in this lifetime? What did I come to do here to develop? Because it's most of the time people don't know that. Like, it's really important. So, oftentimes we're just losing time because we don't really know
Mhm.
uh, what is the goal here. Is the goal the suffering? No, the goal is something deeper. Uh, and so also other questions that are asked is the soul contracts. Soul contracts with important people, like for instance, our parents, brothers, sisters, friends, teachers, uh,
Mhm.
our own children, husband, whatever. To know what is about. A contract is always between two people that want to do something to each other or together, or sometimes it's against each other, but it's to overcome something
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
And but most of the time the soul agrees, even if there is an opposition. It's always to grow, it's always to grow, but of course, it takes some stillness to discover that and to integrate that and to work with it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, the Akashic records, let's say it's like a quantum field of information, and it is guarded by Akashic record keepers, let's say. And these keepers are the energies that I'm contacting. So through prayer,
Mhm.
uh, I contact with the full name of the person. I then receive information regarding the questions that people have to ask.
Okay.
Some people do it without a prayer, do it in another way. There are many ways,
Mhm.
but yeah. So the one that was very, very known in the world is Edgar Casey. Maybe that says you something.
I've
Edgar
heard of that
Casey,
name.
like 100 years ago, was a sleeping prophet, and
Okay.
he made it more known. This whole idea of Akashic records. So he went into asleep, but asleep in a way that he was able to contact another dimension, let's say, and so people asked him questions, and then he received like the answer from another dimension, and
Okay.
yeah, 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 very
Okay.
interesting.
That's pretty cool. So who are the keepers?
Mm. Well, the keepers are, in fact, souls that have, after their creation, have never incarnated. So they have not been into the physical plane, so they have not been biased by, the whole programming that we go through, and that might sometimes give a bias on some questions. So they are really very connected still with Source. And so that's why their information is really very pure and very, yeah, full of wisdom.
Mm,
So, and in that sense, there is a difference between somebody who is a medium or, yeah, so a psychic, uh, because they work with guides, and guides can be wonderful and very, very high frequency. Sometimes guides can also be like our grandfather that we have known, or
mhm,
a connection in that sense. But yeah, as they have not completely let go of their biases, like for instance, they might not always have even if they are on another level, a higher level than when they were on Earth. But it's still a difference between that guidance and the guidance from Akashic record keepers. So.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Um,
Mhm.
what is it like connecting to a baby's soul? Because they haven't come in the body yet. They're probably finishing their signing their contract to come down. Um, and I understand a soul can be more experienced and bigger than the body it's coming into.
Oh, it's always like that. The soul is immense. The soul is immense. And it's only one little part of the soul that can uh, descend into matter, let's say, incarnate. And so every lifetime there is another part of that soul that wants to make itself, yeah, that wants to become conscious about itself, let's say, in on the earth plane. And so what is it about? Well, even parents can have that connection already with the soul before the conception. There's many stories about that, like from fathers or mothers, months or even years before conception, that the soul comes to speak to them during the night, like for instance during a dream or simply in meditation. All of a sudden they have a connection or a name, or they,
Yeah.
yeah, even a communication in some ways. So, and yeah, well, so that's what I do is, or before conception or during the 9 months also, because the soul, let's say during these 9 months, is there, but it's not connected completely. It's like a descent very gradually, like every part of the pregnancy will bring the soul a little bit deeper into it, and the soul is in fact working together with the mother.
Yeah.
So it's protecting sometimes the mother also. And it is uplifting the mother as much as possible. And it is helping in the organization of matter, so that it would be that the matter, the body, would be the perfect vehicle for the soul, or as much as possible perfect, because there is always imperfection, and the body needs to be built up um, so that it is in accordance with the thoughts and the feelings that the soul has been developing in the past.
Mm,
There's always a harmony there, and so yeah, so the mother can connect with the soul also during these 9 months, and simply asking questions like, what would be good to eat today? And oftentimes mothers talk about that without even knowing that it's going on. But they are attracted to bananas, or attracted
yeah.
to yellow vegetables, or to something that they're not normally eating. They can be craving things also. And so they can also ask, what would be good for the soul for me to do, like an activity that is
Mhm.
inspiring, that is putting the child already in, making a connection with something like music, listening to beautiful music, for instance, that is uplifting.
Mhm.
That already brings an imprint to the baby about music and about beauty. And so everything she's doing during this pregnancy will have an impact on this way, in this way. So if she can do whatever is possible to make that a beautiful, inspirational moment, um, it's so important to listen to that. Um, and so, yeah, that is my work then, in fact, is to connect with the soul. If the mother is not able to do that connection, to make that connection, I can do it for them and even deepen it out and asking questions about what are the talents of the baby, what is it bringing as qualities,
Yeah.
and what does it want the mother to concentrate on. And so there are stories like that. Of Olivier Messiaen was a composer in the previous century, and his mother, when she was pregnant, she was attracted to birds all of a sudden.
Wow.
Birds, birds, birds. She was normally never really into that, but
Yeah.
all of a sudden she was like passionate through every bird that she would, and bird songs and everything around that. And so Olivier Messiaen was a composer, but he was also became an ornithologist. Do you say that? Like the
Yeah.
specialist in birds.
Mhm.
And so several musicians also have stated, like Yehudi Menuhin, for instance, yeah, Oliver Messiaen, and others, that in fact their musical education started in the womb. And yeah, so if a mother knows that, she can do all kinds of things. It's not to create um, expectations like, you need to become a doctor, you need to become an attorney
Yeah.
or whatever, but an invitation to develop beautiful qualities. In fact, that's what it's about. To develop like a harmonious character, like, full of empathy, full of sensitivity to beauty, to nature, to other people, um, like a soul filled with love, a baby like that will express later on in life
Mhm.
love and connection with other people, helping them, being able to listen to them, being creative, being intelligent, being resilient, all these beautiful qualities. She can already concentrate on that in some way. She's programming the baby, anyways, and even if she's not doing this consciously, unconsciously, she's programming the baby.
Yeah.
Uh, if it's through depression or anxiousness, she can do it also in a positive way,
Mhm.
and that is so beautiful to know the power that a pregnant woman has, like on the child that she will bring into the world. So the parenting starts before birth, long before birth, and
Yeah.
especially that connection, the bonding with the baby doesn't start after birth. Like we have heard so much about that, about bonding
Mhm.
and all that. But it starts, from the moment of conception, and even before conception, you can already, connect with the soul
Mhm.
and make it comfortable, because even in that moment of coming to the earth as a soul, there is already a lot going on, of refusal, for instance, or anger,
Yep.
yeah, and that will be just a red thread throughout life. Like, anger, when that started already before conception, you can be sure that it will be there very easily throughout life.
Yeah.
So whatever happens against what you want to do, anger comes up. And so if you can go into that and just calm that down as a mother and say, hey, I'm here for you. You're completely welcome. You're loved. So really feel just the harmony and the love that we bring you.
Mhm.
That's such an incredible message to hear and to feel as a soul coming into the world. It's like really you can. nestle into that nest of the mother, warmly, because there is this idea that these 9 months before birth are you're in paradise all the time. That's a myth. That's a myth, some for maybe for some people it could be, if they are really happy, it could be. But there is lots happening there, and even if the mother um, is very conscious, there
Mhm.
can be things happening. Even if the mother is really wanting all the best, and so this is not to say that the mother is guilty of all kinds of, it's not to make her feel guilty. It's about consciousness, and it's about responsibility, in fact, like just knowing that
Yeah.
whatever she goes through is so important for the whole life of the baby afterwards, and what she can do,
Mhm.
in a
Mhm.
positive way.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Really cool.
That's
I'd love to hear your take on what happens during miscarriages. What and how did the soul decided that?
Yeah. Well, there can be several reasons. It can be that the soul has um, plans a really, plan of I want to overcome this, I want to do this, I want to realize that. And it's like when you're in a holiday and you're happy, you're relaxed, you're fulfilled, and you make all kinds of plans for when you come back. And then once you are back home, something else takes over, like life takes over, and all kinds of things happen that block you from, in fact, working out the things that you wanted to work out during the holidays. It's a little bit the same thing. Like the soul is in such a beautiful environment, full of love. It's unconditional love, and
Mhm.
it has not really the consciousness of how it is going to be when the soul will be incarnated on this earth with all the the valley of tears that we have here.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so already the feeling of the mother who is not really open, is not really welcoming. There's lots of going on. Even if she's welcoming, there's lots going on that goes really above her head.
Mhm.
The baby can say, "Hey, wow, I didn't sign up for that," even if she has signed up for that.
Mhm.
So it can be too much. And then the soul says, "I'm out of here. I don't wanna." For this moment, and that is okay. The soul can decide that if it's too much. um, what it can be also, and that is in fact the most of the cases of a miscarriage, um, at, is that what it needed for the development of the soul itself was just these few months in the belly of the mother, to experience something that was happening there.
Mhm.
Just maybe feeling the feeling of a mother who rejects the baby. It can be maybe what the soul was looking for to experience.
Mhm.
And so it goes back because, yeah, that was the plan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And also what happens when a baby chooses to be born and then they're gone? They went through their process, they're in the belly, they came out, and the family's so happy, celebrating, and with no medical explanations, they're gone.
Well, the same thing. In fact, it's heartbreaking for the mother and for the
Yeah.
family. Absolutely, absolutely, it's very hard. Because the mother has given so much of her energy, physically and emotionally and everything, and then all of a sudden the baby is not there. There's this
Yeah.
emptiness. But the baby can be the same thing for the baby.
Mm.
Same thing, like, it needed just that experience of being born,
Mhm.
and that was enough. What it needed to sometimes they come and give something to the mother also. their goal was to give some love to the mother and to help her or to heal her in some way.
Mhm.
And she might not really recognize that immediately, but sometimes that's also what's happening, even on a karmic level.
Mhm.
This can be also a karmic level on that it was a payment for the family, for for the mother itself, or for the ancestors, something like that. That's something that needed to be paid. So it's really hard to know in general because there is so many reasons possible.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what is your book about? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I started to write the book after, in fact, the idea came after when my husband died. Somebody asked me to write a book about my experience of losing my husband and on all the search and rescue. It was an incredible period.
Mm.
But I must say, when my baby was born, I didn't have the time to do that, to write. I
Mm.
was alone with him. But after many years, like when he went to university, finally, I had started to think about that. Like, okay, right, maybe I could start writing now. And so finally, I just wrote one chapter about my story. So the story that I was bringing in the beginning, a little bit more detailed than what I told here. Um, and I have, as I was asked to write about it, how I healed, how I healed the grief process, how did the grief process, and for me it was in fact going to the soul level, and I had remembered lifetimes for myself before that, in
Mm.
which I had lost my husband, but I had not reacted in a positive way. And I created all kinds of trouble for myself.
Mhm.
And I understood that having to go through that again was to make it a better experience for me. And so that's so important because if you know that, then dealing with all this is so much easier. So that was the message I wanted to give. And if I was uh, writing about the soul, I want also to explain a little bit what is the soul, because there is so much confusion about that.
Yeah.
And so, what I know about the Akashic records, about the soul, and also my experiences with people that I have accompanied in this exploration of these 9 months before birth, everything about the conception, how they have experienced that again, and everything happened during these 9 months, the birth, etc. Several aspects about that and how it was restored towards a positive experience. And then the last part is how to prepare before conception so that you can, as a mother, deal with your own traumas that you have gone through, emotional traumas from your childhood or from your own birth or prenatal period,
Mhm.
that can be released before you invite a soul in your life.
Mm.
And so, together with the father, for sure, they're both important.
Yeah.
And so, how you also can make a positive 9 month experience for the baby. So, I don't tell too much about the whole preparation for birth. There's so many books written about that. As a childbirth educator, I didn't want to bring that aspect, but the aspect more of how to be how to have this positive mindsets. So I now work also as a coach, a prenatal coach, and I'm coaching people to develop this positive mindset.
Mm.
In fact, that's a part that just developed after I published my book. So the positive intelligence about how we can create this mindset that helps us to overcome all these negative aspects that we have, like this negative self-talk we have, and these negative beliefs and limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
All these saboteurs, in fact, we have so many saboteurs that are very unconscious and that
Yeah.
hold us back all the time, and that have been created in our childhood most of the time. And for me also, I think, in past lives.
Mhm.
And so our goal is to calm them down and give more attention to this higher self in us, so that if we focus on that, it will become more and more present in our lives. And so that is so important for these 9 months, that a pregnant woman, nowadays they are so overwhelmed by having to work, like 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, and they're so
Yes.
exhausted when they come home. They have to be a superwoman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no time to listen to the baby, to listen to herself,
Mm-hmm.
to work on the relationship, to really think what would be something that would elevate me here today, like that would make me happy, that would make me harmonious, that would make me feel connected to nature, connected to myself. There is no time for that, and it is so important. Even if you can do
Mm-hmm.
just 5 minutes a day, that's already a good start.
Yeah.
So yeah, this positive mindset and becoming aware of when you're slipping towards the negative, and saying, hey ho, no, 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 I want to choose the other side. um, that is so important. So that's about a little bit about the three parts of the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I have two questions for you as we wrap up. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Oh, the meaning of life for me is to find fulfillment in your life and to realize what you came here to do,
Mhm.
to realize your dreams, to realize what your soul brings you as talents, to bring that to the world, and to develop that so that you can feel fulfilled.
Mm, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Last question. Where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so I have my website that is ChristinaWarmenbol.com. I have my LinkedIn also, Christina Warmenbol, but yeah, you need the link. Maybe you will put that under the video.
Yeah, well,
And you
okay.
can find my book on Amazon, A Soul Journey to the Earth, Seeds for a New Humanity. You can find it on Amazon and on all kinds of bookstores. And so, yeah, that's Facebook also. That's right, Facebook, Christina Warmenbol. So, and I am working on a course that will come out in January, in six weeks, like 6 weeks, 2 hours a week,
Mhm.
to become this conscious parent before birth. And so, if people are interested in that, they can contact me and learn more about that.
Awesome. Well, Christine, I think, excuse me, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate you sharing today. You've given me a lot to think about and work on.
You're right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
something
very
that
helpful. Thank you.
very gradual development. But
Yeah,
anyways, thank you so much for your interest in all this, and thank you for having me.
you're welcome.